Hello and welcome to Barry Nerd Corner. My name is Brandon and this is my attempt to beat a Blitz hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon HeartGold. This video is inspired by a similar video by YouTuber In Vivid Color. The link to his video is in the description down below. Check it out, sub to him, and let him know I sent you. Anyway, what do I mean by Blitz hardcore Nuzlocke? Well, the rules are on screen and in the description, but in short, to start, I get my full team of 6. I can only level up with Rare Candies, which means no EV training, and the video will only cover gyms and other major battles, such as the final battles with the villainous team and with the rivals. By hardcore Nuzlocke, I mean the battle mode must be kept on set, no items in battle, no overleveling past the next gym leader's ace, and any fainted Pokemon must be released immediately. Plus, for this and any future Blitz runs that I do, if I white out, I will fully reset the run. I know some of you have wanted that, so this is where you're going to see it for sure. Speaking of seeing it, if you want to see a Blitz hardcore Nuzlocke with a team of your choice, make sure you're subscribed and comment down below the game you want me to play and the team of 6 you want me to use. My team for this Blitz comes from commenter Jess07, also known as JMore07. She dropped not one, but 2 super thanks in past videos, so I had to give her the first Blitz shoutout. If you're watching, Jess, thank you so much for your support. But that's enough of the intro. Time to meet Professor Oak and then get the team together. They're all named after past commenters, so huge shout out to these 6 people. This will also be the norm for future blitzes, so if you comment down below and I don't use your team, I might still use your name in the next video. Let me introduce you to Cyndaquil, named after Caleb Ray, or Rhea, I don't know. Slowpoke, named after Robert Leahy, that's how I'm going to say it, Leahy, I hope that's right, if not, I'm sorry. Snorlax, named after Kangaskhan from my streams. Ampharos, named after Sniper. Heracross, named after Stefanita. And Murkrow, named after Raccoon My Room. When I added them from PK Hex, I gave them all the same nature as Cyndaquil, random IVs, and their level 5 movesets. We then meet Mr. Pokemon and Professor Oak again, followed by our rival. Caleb beats his Totodile without taking any damage because it kept leering at us. Comment below and tell me what you'd nickname the rival in this run. I'll reveal his name later. Anyway, let's cut to the first gym. I lead with Sniper against Faulkner's Pidgey. A single Thundershock is enough to clip the bird's wings and take it down. Pidgeotto is second. We trade hits for a few turns, during which Pidgeotto tries to stall with Roost. This could make this gym rather difficult, but it's nothing Sniper can't handle. Eventually, Sniper falls to 7 HP, so he tags in Dan. Dan dodges a tackle before flattening the medium bird with a tackle of his own. The first badge is ours. There's some Team Rocket nonsense in Azalea Town, but we're not covering that. Let me know if you want to see a bit more plot. I might be willing to show some more rival and villain admin fights, but the point of the Blitz is to do it quickly. But I will cover evolutions. Thanks to Team Rocket, we get 2. At level 14, Caleb evolves into Quilava, and at level 15, Sniper evolves into Flaffy. With that, I bring Stefan, Caleb, and Raccoon to battle Bugsy. Stefan leads against Scyther. Quick Attack does about a quarter, while Aerial Ace does about 75% to Scyther. On the next turn, Stefan falls to just above half HP before knocking out Scyther with a second hit. Now, it's just a matter of cleaning up some fodder to earn our second badge. Nothing exciting happens on the way to Goldenrod City, so let's grab Dan and Leahy and head to the gym. Dan starts with a belly drum, cutting his HP and maximizing his attack. Then, he knocks out both Clefairy and Miltank with single hits of Headbutt. Honestly, this sounds a lot like my daughter's. Chunky loves belly pats and will absolutely headbutt you in the face. Anyway, we have 3 badges. Let's break up the gauntlet for a second. We explore the basement of the burn tower and find a trio of dogs / beasts / cats / giant hamsters, whatever you want to call them. Okay, that's enough of a break. Time to take on Morty. He leads with a Ghastly and I choose Raccoon. An unnecessary crit on Assurance takes down the baby ghost in a single hit. This brings in Gengar, so I switch to Dan. Gengar traps him with Mean Look, then puts him to sleep. This is perfect, as it allows me to stall Gengar out of power points. But this does take a while, as we both are asleep about half the time. Eventually, Dan uses Belly Drum again. This allows him to deal massive damage with Lick. I repeat, this allows him to deal massive damage with Lick. It's great. Anyway, 3 more licks get us to the center of this Tootsie Roll Pop, taking down Gengar and Morty's 2 remaining Haunter. Unfortunately, there's no Tootsie Roll Center to be found, only the Fog Badge. Time for another evolution. Sniper reaches her final form as an Ampharos as we get ready for Chuck's gym. Speaking of, we take her and Stefan to battle Chuck. The first matchup is Stefan versus Primeape. Aerial Ace deals about 75% to the ape, who futilely boosts his evasion. Hyper Potion only delays the inevitable as a third strike takes down the Pig Monkey and brings in Poliwrath. This guy is much tankier, only taking about 40% from Aerial Ace. He hits back with a Light Surf, then after a Citrus Berry heal and a Hypno Miss, Stefan single-handedly defeats Chuck with 2 more hits of Aerial Ace. Now, if you know anything about the Johto games, you'll know that the level caps are weird here. Jasmine is the next gym leader with a cap of 35, but Price is after her with a cap of 34. So, to make my life easier, I'm setting the cap at 34, taking on Jasmine, and then heading to Price. To fight Jasmine, we climb the lighthouse again and deliver some medicine for her Amphi. For some reason, she won't take it from Sniper. The disrespect. For this battle, I'm giving Stefan a break and bringing Caleb and Leti. They should be plenty for this. Sniper's also here for moral support. And plenty they are. I'd love to regale you with the tale of how we earned the mineral badge, but Caleb literally just melted each of her Pokemon with one hit of Flamethrower. Cutting to the Lake of Rage, we find a disgusting miscolored Gyarados. So naturally, I have to electrocute it. Whew. Could you imagine being obsessed with Pokemon just because they have different colors? How cringe. I grab Sniper, Dan, and Stefan and enter the gym to face Price. First is Seal versus Sniper. But, like with Faulkner, Sniper just electrocutes the poor animal with a single hit. This obviously brings in Piloswine, who is notoriously immune to electrocution. This sounds like a job for Stefan. He comes in and takes a soft Mud Bomb. After dodging a blizzard, he pulverizes the Mammoth with 2 hits of Brick Break. Price's last Pokemon is Dugong. And there are 2 applicable expressions here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And second verse, same as the first. A high roll on damage from Brick Break takes down the Seal Pokemon after Bryce stalls for 2 turns with full restores. With the level cap increased to 41, I can evolve the whole team. Raccoon becomes Honchkrow at level 35, thanks to a Duskstone and Blitz Rule number 6. Caleb evolves into Typhlosion at level 36, and then Lady evolves into Slowbro at level 37. The Team Rocket plot comes to a head now as well, so let's have a little admin gauntlet. But first, how cool is the female character in the Team Rocket uniform? I always play as the boy, so I don't know if I've seen this before. Team Rocket challenge coming soon? ? Anyway, the first admin is Petrol. He's backing 5 coughing and a wheezing. So if you bring a good special attacker, especially a psychic type, you're set. I have Caleb who detonates the 6 from range for an easy victory. Second is Proton, whom we haven't seen since the Slowpoke Well. Unfortunately, this Scrubs team only consists of a Golbat and a Wheezing. Raccoon smacks Golbat and itself around thanks to confusion, eventually taking down the bat. I then risk an explosion against Wheezing, dealing about 50% with Shadow Ball, but that's enough of a risk for me. I switch to Dan, who gets poisoned on entry. He falls to 42 HP before managing to slam the poison Pokemon into the ground, allowing us to move on. Third is Ariana. This fight was briefly interrupted by one of the girls waking up and needing a bottle, but here's the highlights. I start with Raccoon against her Arbok. 2 Shadow Balls leave it in the red and allow it to paralyze Raccoon with Glare. After feeding my daughter, I come back to find Raccoon facing Vileplume. He fights through paralysis to defeat it with 2 strikes of its wings. Murkrow is last, but it gets the same treatment. Finally, we take on Archer, the interim director of Team Rocket. His lead is a super cool Pokemon, Houndour. I choose Lady. She takes a critical hit from Feint Attack before drowning the pup with Surf. Then his big bro comes out. Bite takes Lady to 14 HP, and Surf leaves Houndoom with a sliver. I switch to Stefan to tank Feint Attack and bait a fire move. Then I pivot to Caleb, who shrugs off a Fire Fang like it's nothing. Swift then knocks out the dog. Last is Coughing, but we all know how this song ends. You know, I've always wondered why there are 4 executives here. We only run into Team Rocket 3 times total, one of which is this final takeover of the radio tower. you definitely don't need any more than 2 executives. Just give me Proton in Slowpoke Well to Battle, have him mention Ariana, and then we can face both of them in the Mahogany Tag Battle. Then, we can take on Proton a final time before we rescue the Director, before beating Ariana for good where we fight Archer. There, I rewrote the Team Rocket plot and made it better. You're welcome, Game Freak. Anyway, it's time for our final gym battle. First is Gyarados versus Sniper. Snipe does what she does best, electrocutes the wild animal in front of her. Nice try, Claire. She sends in a Dragonair and I stay in. Dragonair paralyzes us while Snipe hits a Focus Blast. She then tanks a Dragon Pulse before hitting a second Focus Blast, thanks to her held wide lens. This takes down the dragon, bringing in a giant seahorse. I tag in Dan, who tanks a Hydro Pump before paralyzing Kingdra with a single lick. Perfect. This lets Dan outspeed the fish out of water and land a strength. I then consider using Belly Drum for a moment. Seriously, this fight would be over so quickly. But it's too risky. Instead, I go for 2 more strengths to take down Kingdra. Claire's last Pokemon is another Dragonair. Dan and Dragonair trade hits on the first turn, then do it again on the second. This time, however, Dragonair falls, finishing our Johto Gym Challenge. With the 8 badges in hand, the level cap technically increases to either 47 to match Karen's Houndoom or to 50 to match Lance's Dragonite. But for a bit more difficulty, I'm going to be using each of the Elite Four members' level cap for their fight. That way, we're not overpowered for the first half of the league. Before we do that, we do have to go to Ecruteak to take down the Kimono Girls, but that's a story for another time. We have a Pokemon League challenge. On the way there, we have to fight our rival for the final time, and his name is YouTube, because of the red, and the fact that the algorithm can be brutal and unforgiving, just like Silver. It's kind of dumb. Anyway, let's take him down. Our rival starts with a Sneasel, and I choose Stefan. After a weak feint attack, Brick Break destroys the Weasel Pokemon. This brings out Golbat, so I switch to Caleb. Flamethrower deals heavy damage, and Golbat retaliates with Air Cutter. Flame Wheel finishes the Giant Bat, and Feraligatr comes out. I then pivot back to Stefan. He takes a Waterfall pretty well, then claps back with a critical hit Brick Break. A second crit knocks out the Gator, and our rival sends out Kadabra. I switch to Dan, who takes a critical hit and gets confused on entry. Kadabra sets up Reflect while Dan punches himself in the face. Then he flexes on the Psychic Cereal Monster before getting disabled. Both Pokemon then get paralyzed from Lick, allowing Kadabra to hit a few more attacks. But eventually, Dan does take this W. Magneton is next, so I bring back Caleb. He also takes a critical hit on entry, but then he just quickly melts the Magneton. This leaves my rival with just Haunter. I switch to Raccoon, who also scores a critical hit to defeat the Ghost. Good try, YouTube, but the algorithm can't stop me. Here's the team leveled up to Will's Ace Zatsu. I'll boost levels as I go, but I won't show you the team each time because it's just going to be level increases. So, let's take on the Elite Four. The battle begins with Raccoon versus Zatsu. I set up with Nasty Plot for what should be an easy sweep. Zatsu U-turns out to Jinx though. She somehow hits a nasty Ice Punch before Raccoon can take her down with Dark Pulse. So much for the easy sweep. Slowbro comes in, so I heal with Roost. This is risky because a crit would kill, and Dark Pulse could confuse me. Dang it. Time to switch. Sniper comes in and also gets confused, but he fights through it to hit a Thunder and score a critical hit. I don't know the odds on that, but that's impressive. Zatsu enters the field again, and I switch back to Raccoon. I try to heal and set up again, but U-turn is super effective now. Executor comes in and sets up Reflect while Raccoon takes to the sky. Unfortunately, the tree survives my attack and puts Raccoon to sleep. Fine, I won't sweep you with one of my favorite Pokemon. Loser. I send out Caleb to burn the tree to ashes. And now Zatsu is back. I bring Raccoon back in to avoid Psychic, only to get confused. Giving up, I switch to Sniper, who manages to paralyze the stupid bird when he uses U-turn again. This lets Will switch to his other Zatsu. Psychic leaves Sniper with 7 HP and drops his special defense, but Thunder clips the bird's wings. Sniper then repeats the move on the original Zatsu, defeating our nemesis and the first member of the league. That battle was a bit more difficult than I expected, but the next battle with Koga is not. Ariados is first to face Caleb, who responds to the spider in the only rational way, with fire. Then Koga sends out Fortress for some reason. He's immolated almost immediately. Third is Muck. Flamethrower does decent damage, while the Sledge monster shrinks itself with Minimize. Caleb hits with Swift for some light damage before getting poisoned by Toxic. I then switch to Dan while Muck continues to Minimize. Muck misses a gunk shot before falling to an Earthquake, and you have to appreciate the irony there. Fourth is Koga's Crobat, who of course starts trying evasion strats. Dan is able to deal small damage with Return, but then a lucky crit on the second attack brings Koga down to his final Pokemon. Venomoth comes out, and Dan stays in to score yet another critical hit and secure our victory. How many Elite Four crits is that for us now? 4? 5? 6? Anyway, we win and we move on. To Bruno. Round 1 is Hitmontop versus Lady. And I hope you like seeing Slowbro because you're about to see a lot of her going forward. Lady sets up with Curse to maximize her attack and defense. Meanwhile, Hitmontop stupidly keeps trying to use Counter. It's weird. Anyway, once her stats are maxed out, Lady is able to sweep Bruno's entire team with ease. Zen Headbutt takes down his 4 Macho Pokemon, and Surf drowns his Onix. Nice try, bro. You're always a pushover. These battles have only been getting easier, so let's see if Karen can give us a challenge. First is Umbreon versus Stefan. But close combat pummels the pup before it can cause any tanky mischief. Murkrow is second, so I switch to Sniper. She takes some moderate damage before clipping that bird's wings too with Thunderbolt. This brings out Gengar. Send out Lady, who brushes off a Focus Blast pretty easily. Surf does just over 50%, leaving me in a bit of a pickle. Gengar knows Destiny Bond, so I switch to Stefan. He gets bonded on entry, so let's hope he's faster. And he's not. But Gengar just tries to spite us before falling to Night Slash. Houndoom is next. I switch to Dan, whose thick fat and great stats make Flamethrower basically useless. Then he can retaliate with Earthquake to defeat Houndoom in one hit. Oh. Okay then. Houndoom keeps biting Dan, but he hits another Earthquake to bury the dog. Last is Vileplume, so obviously I send out Caleb. Vileplume hits Petal Dance before being burnt alive by Flamethrower. That was pretty easy. But this next fight should not be. Let's see how it goes. First up is Lady against Gyarados. And remember what I said like 2 minutes ago about seeing a lot of her going forward? Well, strap in. Lady has Curse to boost her stats and Slack Off to heal herself. With that combination, even the toughest battles are a piece of cake. After maxing out her stats, Gyarados, both level 49 Dragonite, Aerodactyl, and Charizard fall to single hits of Zen Headbutt. Lady does get paralyzed at one point, but that doesn't slow down her brutal massacre. Last is Lance's Ace Dragonite, and surely it will put up a bit of a... Nope. Just kidding. It falls just as easily as everyone else. How disappointing. And with that, we're the Johto champion. This run has been tons of fun, but we still have the Kanto region to conquer. I'll take on the 8 gems, defeat the league again to become Kanto champion, then battle Red on Mount Silver. To save time, I'm only going to show you the fight against Blue, the rematch with Lance, and that final battle with Red. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments down below. After clearing the first gyms in about an hour, we head to Viridian City to challenge Blue. I send out Caleb against his Exeggutor. An Eruption takes down the tree Pokemon easily. Rhydon is second, so I switch around a bit to get Stefan in safely. He comes in, avoids a Stone Edge, and starts setting up with Swords Dance. Which is super broken, by the way. Who gave this Pokemon this move? After 2 boosts, Earthquake obliterates Rhydon. And, well, Stefan is able to sweep basically the rest of Blue's team. Close Combat grounds Pidgeot. Earthquake beats Arcanine. And then another Close Combat overpowers Machamp. I do switch to Sniper to electrocute Gyarados with Thunderbolt for the easy win. But, like I said, that win was easy. Let's move on. Now, we have to become the champion of Kanto as well. This means a rematch with Lance. I would show this whole battle, but it goes exactly the same as our previous match. Leti buffs herself with Curse, then headbutts all of his Pokemon into submission. Get good, Lance. That just leaves Red. First is the battle of the starters, Caleb versus Pikachu. Unfortunately for the mouse, Caleb is faster. Eruption quickly burns the mouse down to nothing, giving me an early lead. Blastoise is second, so I switch to Leti. I think we all know what's going to happen here. I did swap Curse out for Calm Mind because Red's team is full of special attackers, but the result is the same. Leti maxes out her stats and heals with Slack Off. Then, Psychic takes down Blastoise and Venusaur in one shot. Snorlax is a bit tankier, falling to 2 hits after some heal locking. Lapras is 5th. She paralyzes Leti, delaying her defeat. But she also falls to 1 Psychic. And last is Charizard, who is drowned by Surf. And with that, we have conquered the entirety of the Johto and the Kanto regions. We have beat this Blitz Hardcore Nuzlocke with 0 deaths, and this was so much fun. Honestly, this is probably the most fun I've had making a video in the last, what's now been, I think, 10 months. It was so much fun to blitz through the game. I genuinely beat the entirety of both regions in about 8 hours of gameplay. Kanto literally took me an hour and a half just to get through all the gyms. But this was fun. This was so quick and easy to do. I would love to do more of these, both now and when I'm full-time. Honestly, if and when I become a full-time content creator, YouTuber, whatever you want to call me, I could easily do one of these per week and use it as a means to collab and interact with you guys even more. I'm excited for that. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you comment down below if you want to see a Blitz Nuzlocke with a team of your choice. I'm super excited to do more of these. So hopefully I will see you in the next one. This last bit has been unscripted. Also, let me know if you like the new layout. I wanted to try something new with the little boxes for the Pokemon instead of the Pokeballs with the sprites. If you have any feedback, any constructive criticism of the layout, I want to add some more color to it. So let me know any thoughts that you have for that down below. Any kind of special effectsy stuff you want to see, let me know that in the comments down below. But again, thank you so much for watching. When this video hits 1,000 views, I will do my next Blitz Hardcore Nuzlocke, so stay tuned for that. But stay tuned for a non-Blitz Nuzlocke video, not necessarily Nuzlocke, non-Blitz video coming hopefully in the next 2 to 4 weeks. In the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, nerds.